Hey everybody, it's Amr Zahar, and to white people that's Amr Zar, and to Israeli settlers that's also Amr Zar. A few days ago, the new Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett visited the always vibrant and energetic American President Joe Biden. These Israelis sure do sound like foreigners. So let's answer today's question: what does a settler sound like?
Both of us who seek to do good
Notice anything?
and need to be strong.
Listen closer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to working with you now and for many years forward.
That's right, he speaks perfect American English. That's because he's American. His parents moved from San Francisco to Haifa in 1967 and he was born in 1972. Throughout his childhood and adult years, when he wasn't in the IDF killing Arabs, Bennett lived in America because he's American. He was able to travel freely back and forth to America because he held an American passport because he's American. So you might wonder why Naftali Bennett, the Prime Minister of Israel, a nation on the other side of the world, sounds like he's from California. That's because he's from California. He's not from there. He's a foreigner. But surely Bennett is just an outlier, right? I mean, this can't be some kind of sick pattern. Peter Lerner was a spokesperson for the IDF for 10 years. He was born in London in 1973.
We are operating in order to restore security and safety to the State of Israel.
You might wonder why Peter Lerner sounds more like a spokesman for the Queen than he does for Israel. That's because he's from England. He's not from there. He's a foreigner. Dory Gold is a diplomat who has served in many Israeli governments. He was born in Connecticut, attended high school in Massachusetts, and earned a BA, MA, and PhD from Columbia University in New York City.
And my passion was how I could use the expertise I was acquiring to help the State of Israel.
You might wonder why Dory Gold sounds like a yuppie from Connecticut. Well, that's because he is. He's not from there. He's a foreigner. Mark Regev was the official spokesman of the Netanyahu government. In 1960, he was born in Australia.
You know, all sorts of fascist and extreme movements were elected. It doesn't make them legitimate.
You might wonder why an official Israeli spokesperson sounds like Crocodile Dundee. That's because they're both from the Outback. He's not from there. He's a foreigner. Michael Oren was once Israel's ambassador to the United States. He was born in upstate New York and earned his MA and PhD from Princeton University in New Jersey.
Jerusalem is the undivided capital of Israel.
You might wonder why Michael Oren sounds like an American academic. That's because he is. He's not from there. He's a foreigner. Mickey Rosenfeld is the Israeli police spokesperson to the foreign press. He was born in England and grew up there. This is getting old.
The Israeli police respond to terrorist attacks that are taking place on the ground and in and around Jerusalem.
He probably loves Duran Duran and food with no salt. You might wonder why Mickey Rosenfeld sounds like Simon Cowell. That's because they're from the same place, okay? He's not from there. He's a foreigner. Ron Dermer was Israel's ambassador to the United States from 2013 to 2021 under Benjamin Netanyahu. He was born in 1971 in Miami Beach, where both his father and brother were elected as mayors there. Is that true? That cannot be true.
As to your question about the U.S.-Israel relationship, there's no question that this is the most important relationship in the world.
So the Israeli ambassador to America was from Miami, not the American ambassador to Israel. The Israeli ambassador to America's from Miami. That would be like if the American ambassador to Afghanistan was this guy. Anyway, you might have wondered why Ron Dermer sounds like a whiny kid from Florida. That's because he is. He's not from there. He's a foreigner. And of course, we can't forget our favorite settler, Benjamin Netanyahu. He was born in Tel Aviv, but then graduated from high school in Philadelphia and then went to MIT. He actually gave up his American citizenship to serve in the Israeli army. Then when he was done with that, he reclaimed it. Then he gave it up again to serve as an Israeli ambassador because I guess you can do all of that. Then as prime minister, he gave a speech at the UN in a perfect American accent about Iran and bombs.
This is a bomb. This is a fuse.
Now this speech was particularly annoying because I can tell you as an Arab, that is not what a bomb looks like, all right? A bomb looks more like something...
Needless to say...
Wait, her too?
I'm deeply moved.
Grew up in Milwaukee?
By your reception and by the words that you have spoken.
The point is this, and it's pretty simple. Settlers in Palestine have foreign accents because they're foreign. They're not from there. They speak like they're from somewhere else because they're from somewhere else. Now, there might be nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that they kicked out the people who aren't from somewhere else, moved into their houses, and are trying to tell everyone else in their foreign accents that they're the only people who are actually from there. As you can imagine, for a Palestinian, this is pretty infuriating in any accent.
It's going to be very difficult to detect that this signal is a bad guy signal.
Get this the fuck out of this.